A 6K mirrorless camera for just around $1,000 bucks. All that and more on this episode of Tech Zone. What up, teen viewers at home? My name is Malcolm Eugene, and this is Tech Zone, where we talk tech. So what you guys have probably already figured out is that we are going to be talking about the Sony a6300. This camera does read and record 6K footage, but it dispenses it as an oversampled 4K footage. So it's going to be very, very detailed, probably more detailed than a lot of other 4K cameras that are out there. But I'm excited for this camera, probably most than any other camera, mainly for the price point of $1,000 on the body alone. So I'm gonna get into some pros and cons on the Sony Alpha 6300 and see what you guys think right after that. So the one pro on this camera is the video feature. So 4K at 30 frames per second, an oversampled 4K I should say, and then you got 1080 video at 120 frames per second. So not only can you get quality slow motion videos, but you can also get high quality 4K video out of this camera. My next pro, 11 frames per second. Now, it's really not any different than its predecessor, the Sony a6000, but 11 frames per second is still pretty decent when it comes to sports and wildlife photography. The next pro. This camera is going to have a mic jack. So finally, unlike its predecessor, which to me, that was the only con of its predecessor, was the fact that you do not get an external mic jack. You have to get this clunky little Sony mic, which is not really too directional. It was more of a V, so it went out like this. But yeah, external mic jack, so you can finally use your Rode video mics, your Shure, any kind of shotgun mics you want to plug up to your camera, you can finally do that now. The next pro, 425 phase detect autofocus points. That is insane, considering that previously talking about Nikon's cameras and how they're going to have 153 autofocus points, this more than doubles that. And not to mention that of the 425 phase detect autofocus points, about 169 of those are contrast detection. So not only is this going to be one of the best autofocus systems in the market, but also one of the fastest, and they even claim it to be the fastest on the Sony website at 0.05 focusing speed for any kind of action that you are trying to capture. Let's get into the next pro. The body on this camera is going to be partially weather sealed, so you can go out and shoot, in the rain, but not in a blizzard. I don't really know what partially weather sealed really means. I guess we'll see. We'll put it through some tests. The next pro, low light performance. This camera is going to be having an ISO of 100 to 25,600. And it is expandable to 51,200. So let's get into the final pro. The final pro is the fact that this camera, the Sony Alpha 6300, is going to have S-Log3. So what is S-Log3? S-Log3 is just kind of a fancy term for color correction or grading. And a lot of people try to imitate this in post-production, try to make that, give their film the cinematic look per se, but now you're able to do that in camera. So that's one less step you got to do in post, which is really great. But now let's get into some of the cons of this camera. This camera does not have a touchscreen. Probably one of the biggest cons, in my opinion, mainly because cameras nowadays, they have touchscreen. It makes it so much easier for someone to select focus points. You don't have to have a follow focus per se or a focus puller. You can just sit there and select. You want something in the foreground or something in the background. That's really, really crucial for videographers like myself, and maybe even photographers as well. The next con is the fact that it does not have 5-axis in-body stabilization. So basically, you can't just throw on any lens like you can, say, the Sony a7 or a7R. You know, you gotta actually have a lens with image stabilization on it for you to have that steady handheld feel. The final con is the battery life. You're gonna get about 350 to about 400 shots from one battery use, which it's bad. No, there's actually nothing good about that. Moments are not going to stop for people to change batteries. But yeah, so those are my pros and cons of the Sony a6300. What do you guys think? Please let us know down below in the comment section. This camera is one that I'm really looking forward to. I've actually declared this to going to be my second body. I am going to get this camera, whether you like it or not. Like I said, $1,000 for all of those features. I'm totally for that. But anyways, don't forget to subscribe to us, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and as always, my name is Malcolm Eugene, and this is Tech Zone.